Welcome to Surrender School.
At Surrender School, we recover. Our mission is to share 12-step and other supportive recovery solutions with those who want a healthy relationship with food. We are not an official 12-step meeting, but we do try to adhere to the spirit of the traditions. If Surrender School has helped your recovery in any way, please consider donating. We have Zoom costs and website hosting costs and insurance costs, and we've got some costs going to be coming up for the retreat as well. So any amount is greatly appreciated. There's a yellow donate button at the bottom of the landing page of the website. Okay, let's do this thing. Day 30. All right, let's get comfy. Take a few deep breaths. Let the day go. Lay your feet on the floor. Get really grounded in the here and now. Higher power, help me to set aside everything I think I know to leave space for what I have yet to learn. Okay, so today we're going to take a look at the paradox of food addiction. And I was just talking about this with somebody today. So what is a paradox? So according to dictionary.com, a paradox is a seemingly absurd or self-contradictory statement or proposition that, when investigated or explained, may prove to be well-founded or true. Food addiction is a paradox. This is the paradox. It's not about the food, and it's about the food. Both of these things are true at the same time. We have to learn how to hold and live these truths simultaneously. Food first. I told you that's my mantra when things get crazy in my life. I have to take care of food first. My abstinence, when chaos hits, I have got to look out for it. This is because my abstinence is the most fragile thing in my life. If I am not careful with it, it will fall to the ground and break. So figuring out how I'm going to remain abstinent when things get complicated is the very first thing I do. Why do I do this? Because everything else depends on my being abstinent. My ability to navigate difficult situations, complicated or emotionally difficult situations, depends on me being clear. And when I'm in the food, I'm anything but clear. If I deprioritize my abstinence during a difficult time and say, this is more important, this difficult time is much more important, and I can't bother with thinking about abstinence, I guarantee myself a relapse. And we all know what happens in relapse. Nothing matters but the food. We muddle through whatever chaos or crisis is happening because the problem or situation becomes an afterthought. The most important thing becomes eating my alcoholic foods. So you can see here, follow me. Either way, whether I focus on my abstinence or letting my abstinence go and focusing exclusively on the problem or crisis, means I wind up focusing on the food. If I focus on my abstinence first, I focus on making sure that I have abstinent food to eat, and then I can deal with whatever's happening. If I focus only on the problem, inevitably, I lose my abstinence and my focus turns to my alcoholic foods. So either way, I end up focusing on food. The question is, which food do I want to focus on? Do I want to be completely present to the situation with abstinence? Or do I just want to muddle through while being lost in my addiction? Either way, it's all about the food. That pissed me off when I figured that out the first time. So this is how I frame it for myself. When life gets challenging, eating abstinently becomes a spiritual practice. I am telling my higher power that I trust it to guide me and help me through whatever is happening. It is a demonstration, a kind of demonstration of my faith that my higher power won't abandon me. So, the other half of the paradox, it's not about the food. The big book tells us that putting down our substance is but a bare beginning. The really hard work of abstinence and recovery happens after we put down the fork. Here's the thing. Humans are not motivated by logic. We are motivated by how we feel. Early abstinence, pink cloud abstinence, feels great until it doesn't. Then the true work of recovery really begins. The work that is not about the food, but about how we feel. That's what steps 2 through 12 are about. Learning how to feel better without using food. In step 2, we begin to understand that we aren't all alone in our addiction, and we aren't all alone in our life. In step 3, we see how crazy we act when we think we're all alone. We try to control everyone and everything because we mistakenly believe that we're in charge. Because after all, we're all alone. So we decide to accept our higher power's help, and that moves us into step 4. We explore what's not working in our lives and how our own behavior contributes so significantly to our suffering. Step 5 starts to loosen the chains of shame around our spirit because we see as we share our inventory that we are just like everybody else on the planet, human. And we learn about patterns of our behavior that separate us from others, that make us feel so alone. We learn about those patterns in step 5. In step 6, we begin to explore just what these habits and patterns of behavior do for us, why we may be hesitant or unwilling to let them go, despite how much they contribute to our overall misery. We still hesitate to let them go, to let our higher power remove them. In step 7, we get guidance from our higher power on how to cooperate with the removal of these problematic habits and patterns. In step 8, we learn how to forgive those who have hurt us, including ourselves. So our hearts are ready to make amends. So we can make amends from a place of love and generosity and not from a place of manipulation, guilt, or transaction. If I say I'm sorry to you, then I get to be abstinent. In step 9, we make our amends so we can walk into our future without being burdened by our past. And in step 10, we do the really hard spiritual work of throwing out lifelong beliefs and attitudes that used to motivate us and replacing them with the spiritual principles of the program. In step 11, we continually deepen our relationship with our higher power so we can walk in the presence of our higher power 24/7. And in step 12, we apply this program in every area of our lives and we offer service to the world as well as our fellow addicts because love comes from our spiritual awakening. And through this service, our higher power's love comes back to us. So you can see food addiction isn't about the food, and it's about the food. Both of these things are true. As long as we keep both of them in mind, we can be abstinent and recover. So there's a quote from Rumi that I really like. I don't think it's one of his particularly well-known quotes, but I really like it for this topic. And here it is. The intelligent want self-control. Children want candy. I'll say it one more time. The intelligent want self-control. Children want candy. This disease, to me, I wanted it to be so simple. I wanted it to be as simple as putting down the fork and everything would be fantastic. And as it turns out, it's not that simple. At least it's not that simple for me. And that's why it's not only about the food, it's also not about the food, because a lot of what the food was covering up, what I used the food to escape from, what I ate over, for me, at least, all of that has to be dealt with if I have a chance for long-term abstinence. It isn't enough to put down the fork. And I've proven that to myself at least 4 times over the last 6 or 7 years, that I have to deal with what's underneath the food. But I can't deal with what's underneath the food until I deal with the food. And so for me, both of those are true. It's about the food and it's not about the food. So here's my question for today. How can I live both of these truths? It isn't about the food and it's about the food in my program. What would that look like? What would it look like if I lived both of those truths at the same time? Most of us know what it looks like to live the it's about the food half of this paradox. But there's the whole other half. And what would it look like if you were dealing with both halves, going into recovery and looking at both halves? All right. I will set a timer for 5 minutes and I'll see you on the other side of that.
Thanks for recovering with us.